Okay, as I was saying, I tend to keep the intro and the outro as the last thing, um, especially because you can create an interesting groove from your intro while you have the finished groove. So let's say, well, let me just explain. I have the build up here, which is this one, okay. And of course, when I started the track, if I would start the track with the intro, I wouldn't have this part already. So I couldn't say, oh, okay, let's make a bass that goes from just high frequency to full on bass. Okay, I could think that, but I don't have that bass yet. So usually I just put. You can see here the. Let me make them a little bigger. These are chord markers. It's something that really few people use in Logic, as far as I saw for my other friends that produce and stuff. They really don't use it. Uh, I think they're really handy for a lot of reason. I'll explain them later on. But I can put a pin and say, okay, here's my intro. I know that there's going to be my intro over here. But for now, I want to focus on the more musical stuff and the more artistic stuff. I don't want to be bothered with having to do a minute intro. I can do this when I'm done, when I have the main groove, when I'm done with the build up and the main part. Then I can start worry about the intro and the outro, which I know it's odd because it's kind of a reverse process. But for me, it works. It works really well. Um, yeah. So does that answer the question? Cool. Okay. So moving on the build up. This is where you can go really crazy with your stuff. Again, I'm really picky into have a constant grow on the track. Like I really like to have stuff happening. Um, I mean, if I don't really want to play the track in full length right now because probably most of you already heard it. Sure.
I'd like to know how you like to structure the bass line in relation to the kick drums.
Uh, okay. Usually, you mean compression wise or just in terms of how
In
it how?
terms of chords and keys and, you know,
All right. Well, that thing. In terms of chords and harmonies, of course, you need to have your chords first, or at least the melody.
so you get that out of the way first and then you start on the bass line, right?
It depends. This for this track in particular, I started it with a track that I did with another guy who's called Mike Coughlin. I started the track first, and then I passed it on to him, and he did other stuff. But this track in particular started with the chords. I can play them for you if you want. It will be this. So yeah, this track started with this. Uh, then from there, we had to take some decisions. And this might answer your question. First, you need to know where you want your track to go, which direction. I think these are really good chords for. I'm a massive fan of these chords. Probably some of the best that I ever wrote, and I really wanted this track to have the chords in the main part. Sadly, it didn't happen, and fans hated me for this because they liked the melody too, and they wanted the full on part to have the chords. The thing is, I think these chords works really well on their own. Um, there's a great atmosphere going on. I'll play it later on. I'll play the whole breakdown without the solo sound. And I think there's a great atmosphere going on. And when I tried working on the track with the same chords, going on with the classic, kick and bass, I felt like I would lose that atmosphere. Um, so there's some decision that you have to take with your music, and sometimes you have to sacrifice even what you like. I would have loved to have these chords going on with the bass and the kick. Sadly, for as much as I wanted it, the atmosphere wasn't what I wanted. So I had to take the decision. We took the decision to have just a bass. We went for a more electro kind of style. We shifted a little bit more a little bit from trance. That's another thing that fans hated. But at the end, it works really well in a club context. Still, I think it's a nice song to hear. I will admit it's more of a club track, but yeah. First of all, to answer your question, the first thing that you have to think, even before you start actually making the bass, is to know where you want your track to go. Um, then yes, you can say, I want this track to go here, and you can start working bass, kick, melody. Usually I do that. If I start from a melody, I try and see how it works with the whole main groove, kick, bass, some percussion. Not necessarily the final percussion. Maybe you can just get some loops and throw in there, and see how it goes.
So with this track in particular, you laid down the bass line towards the end, right?
The bass line was definitely after the chords, and yes, it was after we saw that the chords weren't working as a full on part. We were like, okay, we're gonna need to have a bass, and it has to be groovy. It has to be sciencey. I mean, it goes on from here. It stops here for like a couple of minutes, where we have our breakdown, and then it's back again all the way to the end. And if you look at this without listening to the track, you're gonna say, first of all, wow, you didn't put any effort. Uh, that's what YouTube people say. They don't know, but yeah, let them think that. Okay, so you'll think, oh, there's no effort, and it's gonna be a boring track. So again, the other decision you have to, after you took the first decision, that is, okay, I have a track that's mostly bass line and not much of a melodic part. You have to think about the groove, because your track has to be interesting somehow. If it's not interesting in the melody, it has to be interesting in the groove. So yeah, you need to find the balance between. You always need to find something that catches the attention. That's I think one of the keys for a track. So yeah, then in terms of construction, it's literally the classic kind of stuff that you do. There's always sidechain that always works. It's a little bit of obvious things, but definitely, let me see. It's actually not even sidechain anymore. I got this plugin, which is amazing. It's a cheating sidechain. Basically, you probably are familiar with a LFO tool by Xsurf. It's Steve Duda. I don't know if you ever saw that plugin. Basically, this is a in plugin automation on the volume. So you can create hold on, let me just play it. You can create sidechain without having to do the whole routing, on a compressor. So basically, it's just. Oops. Logic is being a pain with automations. Okay. So now you can't really hear it. Now it's more obvious, okay? So you can clearly see hear the sidechain, but there's no compressor, there's no key, there's nothing that is controlling the bounce of the sidechain. I don't know if you're familiar with sidechain techniques, but usually what you do is you have, for example, a kick going inside a compressor. I can just set it up real fast. Dynamic compressor, there you go. Usually you have the kick going inside here, and then from there you set your threshold attack usually really fast, and then you set your release in order that it bounces with the whole rest of the song. And okay, we lost, 10 seconds. That's not a big deal, but then you need to fine tuning and you lose other time, and it is time consuming. Well, with this plugin, you just literally, let me see if I can start from 0. It's not letting me for some reason. Well, you can literally design the kind of bounce that you want. So you can imagine, okay, well, I of course, I only needed sidechain, so let's go back to normal. Now it's been buggy, but it has the line should be back to normal. For some reason, it's not, but never mind. But yeah, you can imagine what kind of things you can do with this kind of plugin. You can create volume automation that go in sync with your song. This is 1/4, of course, because we want to have a bouncy sidechain that goes along with the kick. You can modulate the filter, so you can have it and the resonance as well. So you can do a lot of cool things that you can't really do with a compressor. So yeah, for me, right now, every time I need to do a bass, this is a go-to plugin. And yeah, most of the time is kick, sidechain, and then I start shaping my bass sound. How do I find a groove? It's usually a mystery for me as well. I mean, I usually just start tapping the keyboard. I know it sounds bad because it makes me sound like I don't know what I'm doing. And eventually, it's true. A lot of producers actually don't know what they're doing. I can tell you that. But it's all about feeling. I'm not a musician, sadly. I'm not proud of that. I would like to be able to play an instrument. I am not. I'm trying to learn. But at the same time, I feel like sometimes not knowing, it's better in a way because you are less restricted. Of course, if I would know everything from rhythm to notes to everything, I could sit there and play every melody I want in like a second. But maybe I would be more like, this thing is not what it's supposed to be. When you know, when you don't know, even if it's not supposed to be, you don't know it, so you do it anyway, and maybe it works. So yeah, the thing for especially for making a groove is really tapping and start to get into the flow, and then usually your brain does the rest. For example, this melody, I remember exactly how it came. Like I was literally tapping some chords, and I got the first chord. This one that is not playing right now because. Hold on. Let's see if I can play the whole chord. It was these two chords, and from here I literally know where I should have gone. The whole melody, these whole chords, were already written in my brain. All I had to do was trying and and then thank God there's logic. You can quantize everything. You can fix everything. Uh, but I don't know if I'm one of the lucky guys who can actually like build everything in his brain and then put it in a track, or if it works like that for everybody. But literally, when people tell you to express what you feel, this is really it. That's why I get really mad when people on YouTube or on the internet just crap talk about whatever you do. It's because they don't understand that even if maybe it's the atmosphere is not there or the melody is not doesn't make you cry or whatever, it doesn't matter that you it doesn't mean that you didn't put any feeling. So yes, uh, a good start is kick going, definitely. Sidechain going, because the sidechain gives the pump and introduces you to some kind of flow already, and then from there start uh, build something that sounds cool to you, and from there you can go to a different, you can change patch, and from there you say, oh wow, this patch tells me that I need something else, and then you can open another plugin and try to compensate what you need with that. And so it's a really creative process, and all you have to do is just listen mostly to what your feelings are. There's no mathematic or anything. Please.